and welcome again to the general session for the Department of Psychology here at San Francisco State. As I mentioned, my name is Chris Wright. I'm the department chair. I'm also a faculty member with a specialty in industrial organizational psychology. So for anyone who's interested in IO, we have our individual session on Thursday evening, this Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. I've been at San Francisco State since 2003. This is my 19th year on campus. Megan Kwong is our graduate administrative assistant, and she's going to be walking you through the application process in a minute. But I just wanted to take just a moment to give you an overview of our department and a little bit of our history. So the psychology department at San Francisco State is actually positioned within the College of Science and Engineering. So we're in the college that has biology, physics, mathematics, computer science, earth and climate science, and geography, among others. Our building is, we have our own building that we share with the College of Ethnic Studies. It's located pretty much in the center of our campus. It's a 5-story building. We occupy the 2nd, 3rd, and 5th floors, and we will be in person in the fall 2022 semester. You can see more on our webpage, which is referenced above. The psychology department at State has been around since 1934. It was founded. It was granted department status in 1961. And the building that I just showed you on the last slide was constructed in 1965, partially from a National Science Foundation augmentation grant for research facility. We have 23 full-time tenured tenure track faculty. And for those interested in clinical, we're actually recruiting for 2 additional clinical faculty members, tenure track faculty, to start in fall of 2022. We have 6 master's degree concentrations, which I'll discuss in a moment. And we're a fairly large department, one of the largest on campus in terms of the number of students. We have approximately 1,300 undergraduate majors and 100 graduate students. Now, presumably, folks who are attending this session and our other sessions this week have an interest in a particular concentration. If you don't, I certainly encourage you to go to as many sessions as you'd like. But this graphic just indicates sort of how our programs are situated in the department. At the top half of the circle, you see we have a Master of Arts degree in psychological science that has 3 different concentrations: developmental psychology, social personality and affective science, and mind, brain, and behavior. And if there are any international students in the meeting tonight, those 3 Master of Arts concentrations all have a STEM, what's called CIP code, CIP code. So that's certainly helpful to students who need a STEM degree to attend with visa issues. The lower half of the circle, we have 3 Master of Science concentrations: clinical psychology, school, and industrial organizational. Here's just a graphic that shows you our faculty. As I said, if we end up hiring 2 clinical faculty, I'm going to have to shrink the pictures for next year. But our faculty are all teacher scholars. So that means, particularly for graduate students, our faculty are going to be in the classroom, teaching you the science of psychology, but they also have active research labs. So our faculty have active research labs that many, if not most, of our graduate students participate in. That research focus, along with teaching, has generated a great amount of productivity. We have a very prolific department. You can see some of the stats, a little over 15,500 Google Scholar citations of our faculty's publications, just from 2019 to the present. Our faculty average a little over 3 peer-reviewed publications per year. That benefits graduate students. About 43% of those publications, almost 50%, are co-authored with students. The same for conference presentations and peer-reviewed poster presentations. So student involvement in research is something that's critically important to our faculty. We've also been highly successful in generating research grant funding. So since 2016, our faculty have generated a little over $5 million in research funding, which comes back to the department in terms of indirect costs that support student and faculty research efforts. And that faculty success translates directly into graduate student success. So the universities on this slide is just a sampling of where our recent master's graduates are now earning their PhDs in psychology. As you'll see, if you go to any of the 6 concentration-specific open houses, the focus of our programs is both research and also practice. So particularly our clinical school and IO programs, the students that graduate from those concentrations tend to go directly into the workforce. And the students from our Master of Arts programs tend to go on for PhD study. So that's just a brief overview. I highly encourage you, if you attend this, the concentration-specific sessions, to ask specific questions about the concentrations. Many of those sessions will have current graduate students as well. I know the IL1 will. And so what I'm going to do now is just I'm going to take this off screen. I'm going to turn it over to Megan, allow her to share her screen to walk you through the application processes. I'm sure you have a lot of questions about that.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to go walk you through hold on, trying to get things sorted. But I'm going to walk you through the application side of things. We're going to cover basically what the department materials are going to be for the application process, but also other things you might run into during the application process and how to get around them. Main thing you'll want to remember is our Division of Graduate Studies here. They are the main branch that you will be working with through the application process. We use Cal State Apply as part of our process as well. And so if you go to admissions, it'll give you a sort of guide for how to use Cal State Apply, as well as for our international applicants. It'll give you extra details on what specific extra materials that are needed, such as the English proficiency scores. They'll let you know what is acceptable, because I know that a lot of the testing sites are still impacted by COVID-19. They'll also let you know how to submit your evaluated transcripts as part of it. If we go to domestic applicants, Cal State Apply, which is loading here. So this is the Cal State Apply website. You'll be using this interface as part of your application process. The application for our psychology programs is one application, but you will have supplemental materials that you'll be uploading as part of this online application. So in order to get started, you want to go down and select the term that you want to apply for. So fall 2022 is the cohort you guys are applying for. and it'll load. So you make an account. As part of the account, you'll be able to select a campus and a program that you want to apply for. The issue with Cal State Apply is you only get one program per campus per year. So if you're deciding between two programs, say you're deciding between developmental psychology and industrial organizational psychology, you will have to choose either or for the year fall 2022 for what program you want to apply for. That said, you can change your mind and switch between the two programs as many times as you like, up to the deadline, which is going to be February 1st, 2022, 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is our cutoff. And if you want to change which program you'd like to apply to, you just need to let the Division of Graduate Studies know what you are looking to switch to. That way they can help move your materials over and get you connected with the program that you want to apply for now. Okay, and so here is our faculty site. So here's our contact page. If you go to the sidebar here, it links you to each of the individual program websites, as well as our handy dandy homepage for the graduate site, which you can sign up for the additional sessions for, as well as look at previous open houses we've held. And so I'm just going to go through basically what our general application requires and some tips and tricks for getting through the session. So main thing to start off with is our deadline for the application. It opens and ends the same time every year. It opens October 1st and closes February 1st of the following year, 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, if you didn't catch it the first time around. This is a non-negotiable deadline. We occasionally have extensions, but I wouldn't count on them every year. So it's best to plan in accordance with that February 1st deadline. GRE, we've had some emails already. We are waiving the GRE again this year for all our programs. The clinical psychology program no longer requires the GRE as part of their application at all. So if you're applying for clinical psychology, don't worry about it. The other programs, they're waived it for this current year, but the subsequent years are TBA right now. The only additional information I have for GRE is the Mind-Brain Behavior program. They said GRE scores are voluntary. So if you want to submit that, you can, but it's not required. So for the Cal State Apply application itself, the Division of Graduate Studies is holding their own open house as well and workshops on how to use that interface. And they have multiple sessions, so I do recommend attending one of them. They also have just drop-in office hours if you ever run into a issue where you have trouble uploading something or get confused on a portion of the application. They can help walk you through it. For the program materials, you'll all be submitting them under the program materials portion. There are 4 portions basically on the Cal State Apply section. One, you put your personal info in, your academic history, your service history, and program materials. You'll be using the programs material section most to upload your documents, and those documents will include our recommendation letters. So each program requires at least 3 letters of recommendation. Cal State Apply only allows 3 to be uploaded on their site, but if you have more, you are more than welcome to submit them. You would just submit them with the letter of recommendation waiver form, which I'll show you later. And you would have your writer submit the letter to me directly to my email as a PDF. How the letters of recommendation works for Cal State Apply is you put their name, you put their contact information, their position, such as which university they're from, and they get sent a link that will prompt them to upload a letter on your behalf. A lot of times it gets sent to the spam folder. So if they don't get it within a day or two of you filling out that section, it's probably there. Have them check. If not, you can have them contact me and we can figure something out. For the letters of recommendation themselves, it doesn't have to be all academic sources, though we prefer it. And academic sources can be more than just your faculty, professors. It can be deans, it can be researchers from other universities whose lab you're in. If you can't get any sources such as those, if you've been out of school for a while or your professor retired, you're more than welcome to get your current or past employers to write the letters for you. And they follow the same procedure. You just have them write a letter to you and post it as a PDF, or they send it directly to me if they're an extra letter. And unofficial transcripts. So the unofficial transcripts are going to be shared between our office and the Division of Graduate Studies. The reason for this is they help us calculate your GPA. University has a minimum 3.0 GPA requirement for all applicants. How they calculate that is it's going to be either your cumulative GPA, so all the classes, all the units you've ever taken, calculated through that, or your last 60 units. So whichever one's higher, determined by the Division of Graduate Studies, that's the one they'll use. So you don't have to put your GPA in the academic history section, just say you're not reporting anything. Unofficial transcripts, it has to be comprehensive. So any courses you've taken for college units, such as community college units that you took over the summer, study abroad units, we want everything reported. If you don't report everything, it'll delay your transcript evaluation by the Division of Graduate Studies. And the longer it takes, the longer your application will be considered incomplete. And we won't be able to move you to the evaluation committee until your application says it's complete. Formatting wise, it can be like pulled off your student center. The Division of Graduate Studies does not accept screenshots or photos. They have to be legible. If they can't read it, they'll contact you via your email that you have attached to your Cal State Apply application. So please keep an eye on your email. Keep an eye on your spam folder. Again, sometimes their stuff gets sent there. And let's see, what else? Yes, so full academic disclosure, GPA requirement. If you feel like you don't meet the minimum 3.0 GPA requirement, it's not going to stop you from getting into grad school. There is paperwork that can be done there's paperwork that can be done to help you overcome the GPA requirement of the minimum 3.0, but we can only do this paperwork after you're accepted to the program. We don't do it as part of the application process, only when you're accepted to the program. That said, if you feel like that the GPA is the only thing that's stopping you, feel free to apply. If your other application portions are stellar, feel free to use this opportunity. Just don't let the GPA stop you. Let's see, personal statement. So each program has its own personal statement prompt. Each one has a 6 to 7 page limit. I believe the social personality affective science program has a 5-page limit, but the others are 6 to 7. You don't have to use all 6 to 7 pages, but we do recommend using as much as you feel is necessary to fill the prompt. So you don't have to write up to 6 or 7, but you have that option. If you have extra space, feel free to use it to your advantage. For instance, if you have a dip in your transcripts at all, you can use the personal statement to explain why your grades might not be as high as you expected them to be. You can also think of the personal statement as your way to show us who you are before you show us who you are. It's basically the main way that the faculty will be able to interact with you before you are accepted to the program or accepted for an interview. That said, some good sort of brainstorming questions to consider when writing this are, who are you as a student? Who are you as a person in the field of psychology, such as why did you get interested in this field, and who you are as a person. So if you'd like to use extra pages in your personal statement, feel free to use that space. CV and resume are going to be requested as well. This will also go under the program materials section, and there's no sort of page limit. We've had 1-page CVs, we've had 3-page. You do want to just be sure to list relevant experience. Let's see, what else? There's also a course prerequisite form. So all the supplemental materials that you'll be uploading as part of the application itself can be found here. The prereq form, I believe I made a fillable PDF, so you can write directly on it. Letter of recommendation waiver is currently just a standard form, but I believe you can fill it out as well. Here's the prompts. And for the prerequisite form, each of our programs has a prerequisite list that will be required in order to make you a qualified applicant. You will want to definitely put those required courses on the form, but feel free to list any additional relevant coursework specific to that program that you're applying to. If you need more than 1 page for all the undergrad work you've done, feel free to send a second form in the program materials. International students will be working closely with the Division of Graduate Studies. Their email is right here. And so things like, how do you submit your WES evaluations? Do I have to do TOEFL or is Duolingo okay? They will be the one to answer those questions. They'll also be able to let you know on their website what additional academic requirements are required for your country, because each country has a different set of requirements. And then finally, for reapplying, if you don't get in the first time, don't worry, we don't penalize against people who haven't gotten in before. We keep all your stuff on file. So if you decide to reapply the following year, you're welcome to reuse materials that you've submitted before. With the transcripts, the Division of Graduate Studies only allows certain special circumstances to reuse transcripts. Otherwise, you generally have to send them in fresh every single year. But in terms of department materials, you are welcome to reuse your CV, your personal statement, prereq form, letters of recommendation. If you are applying for a different program than a previous year, you're more than welcome to recycle that way as well. You just have to let us know which program you'd be applying for this current year, what materials you want to reuse, and what you're planning on updating. That way we can keep all the paperwork and send it to the right places.